calling in from Rome, Italy today. We have one of the smartest guys in politics I know. We have former Speaker Newt Gingrich. Good morning, Newt.
It's great to be with you, and it's a bright, sunny day in Rome. And all I can tell you is that the world is changing rapidly, and they just had an election here in Italy that the populist forces won. They had an election in Hungary where the populist prime minister got reelected, and lots of the world seems to be drifting in the same direction as America. So it's fascinating.
It's our friend John McLaughlin, I understand, helped run that Hungary election, but I guess he did a good job.
Well, look, I think there are a lot of people. I mean, the issue in Europe is in some ways similar to the issue in the U.S. in that there are a lot of places now where people are sick and tired of the equivalent of our Washington swamp is a Brussels swamp, and in some ways it's even worse than Washington because if you're sitting in the middle of Belgium. What right do you have to tell the people of Hungary how to live or the people of Italy or whatever? And so there's really a wave of resentment against people who are anti-nation and who want to somehow submerge us in bureaucracy. And it a little bit resembles what's going on in the U.S., where Trump has stood up for America, has argued for trade deals that are pro-American, has argued for security policies that are pro-American, and has really rattled the left-wing intellectuals because they think all that patriotism stuff is dangerous. But I think President Trump, in fact, is moving in the right direction. And I think we're in a fight really over the whole future of whether America will survive as a concept and as a civilization. And the folks on the left deeply oppose that.
Newt, we had a lot of interesting things happen in the United States last week. And Paul Ryan, the speaker, even though there was rumors going around, everybody was surprised that he actually pulled the trigger and says, this is my last year. How do you think that affects the country?
Well, I wasn't surprised. Paul comes from a family where the men have died at a fairly early age. It's part of why he works out so intensely and why he really tries to stay in great shape. His kids are now teenagers, and I think he realized that being this gone all week is just not who he wants to be. I mean, one time I was emailing him. He apologized for typos because he was actually sitting in a deer stand with his two sons. And he wants to spend more time focused on them. He's very young. I think he's 46, and he's got a long career ahead of him. And I think he'll go home to Janesville, which is he loves, and it's where he grew up, and he wants to be there. He'll make some money, and I suspect in a few years, when the boys are a little bit older, he'll do other things. He laughingly said yesterday he really wants to be the ambassador to Ireland in about 10 years when his kids are out of college. And, I think that I'm not sure that he wants to run for office in the short run, but sometimes you get after a while, you get rested, and, then you have new energy. He's very smart. He was a major contributor to the Republican Party. But on the other hand, when I left, it took about a week to find Denny Hastert, and when Hastert left, it took a week to find John Boehner, and when Boehner left, it took about a week to find Paul Ryan. I mean, the system does work, and there are lots of talented, aggressive people who are energetic and ambitious, and I think probably Kevin McCarthy will become the next Republican leader, and if they can win the campaign this fall, he'll be the next speaker.
Well, that's a good prediction. What do you think of what's happening with the FBI and Mueller and raiding of the lawyer of the President of the United States?
Well, I think that it's a threat to every American. It's not just a threat to Trump. But, imagine you wake up at 3 a.m. and you have armed police in your bedroom while you and your wife are laying there in your pajamas. That's what happened to Paul Manafort. He wasn't dangerous. He wasn't a threat. But there he was with people in his bedroom at 3 a.m. Imagine that your attorney suddenly was visited and they took all of the confidential files that your attorney had gotten in absolute confidentiality. And Alan Dershowitz, the famous, very liberal Harvard law professor, has been on TV all over the place saying, this is terrible stuff. It's really dangerous, and it really is a threat to all of us. Imagine that you had a prosecutor who's ripped, and this is what Rosenstein did. He gave Mueller a paper that says you should look into the Russian collusion question and anything else you deem appropriate.
Wow.
So there's an old Stalinist line: "Show me the man, and I'll find a crime." And imagine that was the prosecutor coming after you, not because of something they knew you did, but because they were going to dig into your life, either to find something you're guilty of, or they were going to turn around and they were going to ask you enough questions that you would eventually make a mistake, and they would claim that was perjury, or that was obstruction. And that's why this is so dangerous. It's not just dangerous to Trump. It's dangerous, I think, to every American. And I would urge anybody who's reading about this book by Comey, if you go to lioncomey.com, which the Republican National Committee put up, they just have this straight video of Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, and a whole range of Democrats, every single one of them, attacking attacking Comey and calling him a liar and saying that he was a disgrace and that he had damaged the FBI. And they ought to look at this 8 or 9 different Democrats, and it's them there. It's their voices. It's their pictures. So there's no question. Nobody made this up. And it gives you some flavor of how bad this is.
Now, how is the courts going along with this? Are they lying to the courts?
Well, we know that they probably lied to the court about the so-called dossier, which Steele, a British former secret agent, had written, which was full of stuff that was a lie and that was paid for apparently by the Clinton campaign. And we know the FBI did not tell the judge the truth about the dossier, and that was the basis for getting the FISA warrant to be able to listen to American citizens. So we know that was dishonesty. We also know that Comey just in the last few days has said that there is classified documents that indicate that Attorney General Loretta Lynch was doing some things that were illegal. You go down this list, and what's really striking to me is you have Hillary Clinton erase 33,000 emails. You have her staff deeply involved. Do any of them get visited at 3 a.m? Do any of them lose their lawyer-client privilege? No. I mean, it is so one-sided. And, of course, in the Justice Department in 2016, 97% of the donations went to Hillary Clinton. So, I mean, you understand the bias of the system, but that violates the whole concept of the rule of law. And as I was telling you earlier, one of the reasons I did this online course called Defending America, which people can find at defendingamericacourse.com, is to begin to remind folks as a historian, this is exactly what Jefferson was worried about. This is why we have a Bill of Rights. Jefferson was very much afraid that this new central government would have power that would threaten the freedom and the liberty of all of us. And as a result, Jefferson insisted that we adopt some amendments to the Constitution to protect us. And most of those amendments relate to restricting the government. And I think what we're watching is a breakdown of the whole concept of constitutional rule of law. I think it's really very sobering and a real threat to every American.
I had Alan Dershowitz on our show last week, and he gave an excellent interview. Such an excellent interview that Trump invited him to dinner on Tuesday night and Wednesday night. I understand.
Well, I mean, Dershowitz gets it. As an old-time liberal, he realizes what an enormous threat to our freedom we're watching right now.
You were 100% right when you said Comey was given a license in search of a crime. In other words, search until you find a crime, and without any specific knowledge of a crime. And it is horrible. And your website is defendingamerica.com?
It's defendingamericacourse.com. And and I think people will find it really interesting. We try to take really basic principles of why did the Founding Fathers do these things to keep us free, and what were they trying to protect? And I think all too often nowadays our schools don't teach American history. They don't teach about the people who made America great. And as a result, our young people don't have any idea, what's at stake. It's all just noise to them.
Do you have any faith that the Inspector General that has said that he's going to investigate the cross relationships between the Justice Department and the FBI and the FISA court? A lot of people are hoping that this guy does a good job.
Well, I think it's very interesting to me that Rosenstein apparently is sitting on several reports already. There was a report that was supposed to come out in February about McCabe, the number 2 guy who the FBI fired. Trump did not fire him. The FBI fired him for having not told the truth. Another report was supposed to come out on Comey in March, which I thought was only fair. We ought to get to see the report before the book gets published. That's not come out yet. Rosenstein is sitting on it. There are 3 memoranda that Comey wrote that I'm told absolutely undermine his whole case and make it very clear that Donald Trump was not in any way trying to engage in blocking the investigation. Those 3 memos are still covered up. I just wrote an op-ed for Fox News pointing out that, they ought to release the memos. Let's read those 3 memos if we're going to be reading Comey's entire long book. Well, let's see the stuff he wrote back literally at the time he was talking to Trump last year. And apparently I'm told that they absolutely undermine Comey's entire case.
Now, the other shocking thing that I saw last week is that Congress had to threaten the FBI director with impeachment before he turned over those papers.
Yeah, well, actually, I think that's slightly misdirected because, frankly, Mr. Wray, the new director of the FBI, he is trying to cooperate, and it is Rosenstein, the Deputy Attorney General, who's blocking it. I mean, the people who are really upset about this, and I'm one of them, the person to focus on is Rod Rosenstein, and why is he blocking all this stuff? I mean, he's blocked 4 months of cooperation that the Congress has asked for. They're finally dribbling a little bit of it out. But I think that Rosenstein, who's a career Justice Department guy, I think he's trying to protect the department from huge embarrassments, and they're going to come out. People are not going to let them hide. And I think they're apparently, I'm told, I did a long conversation recently with Bob Goodlatte, the chairman of the Judiciary Committee in the House, and he said there are like 1,200,000 documents that relate to the FBI agent and his girlfriend, and they've only gotten 3,000 of them so far. So
wow.
That gives you some idea of how much stuff there is out there.
Former Speaker Newt Gingrich, thank you for calling in from Rome. Enjoy the sunshine, enjoy the day, and we'll talk again with you real soon.
And I look forward to seeing you in New York.
I look forward to it too. Now, defendingamericacourse.com. Is that it?
.com.
Thank you so much.
That's it.
This is it. This is the Cats Roundtable. We'll be right back.